Hey there, my name's Alexander White, and this week's video is all about EQing male vocals, or rather, EQing anything at all. But we're going to focus on a male vocal lead this week. And it was actually inspired by a comment that I got on YouTube. And the comment says, "Hey, your videos are super helpful. Thank you very much. That's so kind. I've been following your methods and it did make a huge difference in my mixing. However, I'm struggling to equalise male vocals properly. Whenever I EQ male vocals, they always lose energy and the vocal seems too boxy. It's a real struggle. Can you please make a video related to the topic I've mentioned above? Thanks, Alex." Yeah, no problem. I would absolutely love to. Now, not only is it going to be a video about how to EQ male vocals, but I'm also going to show you what EQ can't do and what you shouldn't expect it to do. Because you know what, there's a lot of reasons why vocals might have those problems that isn't just related to EQ. It could be compression, it could be the room that you've recorded in, it could be the mic position, the type of mic choice. It's kind of endless. So the example I have for you today is just a plain, clean male vocal against a mixed track. And then you'll get to hear the decision-making processes, because I'm not just going to break it down for you. I'm going to do the EQing in front of you so you can really see what's actually happening. So first of all, here's our mix here going on. I'm basically using the API Vision channel strip across all of the channels in this mix. And the channel we're going to be looking at is the LD Vox, lead Vox. Now, just to tell you a little bit about this track, it's a kind of grungy, kind of garage rock, desert rock kind of track. It's got a bit of a bluesy swing to it. And I just feel so bad for the lead singer, JD, who I'm going to do the thing that no singer ever wants to have done to their vocals, which is I'm going to show you them completely dry, completely plain, nothing on them except for, you know, the minor processing that I put when we tracked them, which was actually, for me, very minor. I normally put quite a lot on my tracks when I'm processing them on recording, because that makes it sound more fun on the day. It feels good for everybody, gets you through the mix quicker. But this one's actually quite clean, which makes it a great start for what do we do with the EQ. So let me play you a bit of the track. I'm just going to let it run for a minute or so, just so you can really get that vocal in your head. And then I'll stop and we'll start EQing the vocal. You'll see what we can do. And of course, I'll talk about what it can't do. And hopefully we'll end up with a better result at the end than we do at the start. So here comes the song.
Cracking and crumbled, the fires have started below, the volcano has erupted, the lava is starting to flow, the skies are cracking with the thunder, the heavens are raining down, you keep on running through the fields as the fires start all around. I set your legs on fire and watch you crawl to me, 'cause I can smell your desire. Why don't you just leave me?
And it continues on. And we'll just kind of generally look at that little bit of the song. So as you can hear, the vocals are completely plain. I don't think there's even any reverb on these. No. It's a totally dry vocal. So first of all, of course, we're dealing with a pretty good singer in this style. He's got a great rock voice. He's got a lot of character in it. He's great with his vibrato. We're dealing with a good singer. So what do we do with EQ? What can EQ help us with? Because yes, of course, this vocal isn't mixed. And let's focus on the EQ to start with. So I want to talk about the way to listen, because there are so many places to start. Do we start with high pass filters? Do we brighten it up? Well, forget all of it. Forget all the rules. There aren't any. But there is a way to listen. And I'm going to play the song again, but I'm going to start from the verse. And as we play, just listen to 4 areas in the vocal. Split it up into the bass, into the low mids, the high mids, and the high. So the bass would be the real kind of low stuff in the chest, kind of not quite as low as kick drum or bass, but it's pretty low down there. Then the lower mids would be more upper chest area, right? Then we have the upper mids. Now that is going to be things like nasally kind of sounds, but brighter, not quite high-end S's and T's, but sort of that kind of territory. Getting on for that, up to about 3 or 4K. Then the high end, break it down to that high end. So think about all the tiny little things. And the thing to ask yourself is, what is not balanced? And let me be clear, when I say balanced, I don't mean the same or equal or something like that. What I mean by balance is creatively balanced, because in your track, you may want the vocals to be really bright and really loud. That might be your creative production choice. Well, that's correct. So the balance in your track is to make sure that nothing else in the track ever makes the vocals not sound bright and forward, if that's the point of your track. So what I want from this track is these vocals to sound pretty balanced against the track, as if you would imagine them on stage. This is a rock band. It's got a kind of roomy, garagey kind of feel. And so I want it to stay fairly true. I want the singer to sound big and I want him to sound exciting, but I don't want him to sound harsh and I don't want him to sound thin. So let's play the vocal and have a listen.
The world is cracking and crumbled. The fires have started below. The volcano has erupted. The lava is starting to flow.
Okay, let me point out where to listen. I'll play it again and I'll stop when we get to a real key point.
The world is cracking and crumbled. The fires have started below.
The fires have started below. Listen to the word below and listen to the way, if we're thinking about those 4 segments, listen to that 3rd segment, the upper mids, okay? You can actually hear almost a ring coming out. The way there is something in that voice that sounds a little bit crispy, harsh in that upper mid-range. It's not quite the high end, it's upper mid-range. Let's have a listen again.
The world is cracking and crumbled. The fires have started below. The volcano has erupted. The lava is...
And it was the same on lava as well. So to EQ a male vocal and any instrument at all, the process is to think like this and break it down into those 4 segments and then find that frequency. There's no EQ adjustment that you can do that you know is going to work on anything, because you don't know where the problem is in relation to the track. Because some of this stuff may sound brilliant in solo, but it doesn't matter how it sounds in solo. It matters how it sounds in the track. And in the track, this vocal is sounding a little bit bright at the top end. As well as the other thing I hear, where I don't feel like for this rock singer he's got enough weight behind him. Sounds like the low end is could do with pushing up a little bit, okay? So what we do in order to solve the problem that we've identified, we've listened, we've thought about it, now we want to solve that problem. And the way to do it is, if you're new to this, you will get used to frequencies. You'll get used to going, that's about 3K, that's about 8K, that's about 200 hertz. This develops over time. So don't worry if you can't do it today, you will get this. But what we do is we choose a frequency, and what I'm going to be doing is using this here, this control here, which is the upper mids on this API EQ. And I'm going to choose 5K first of all, because I think it might be around 5K. And what I'm going to do is play the vocal back, and then I'm going to turn up the EQ and see if as I turn it up, it is in that area where I'm hearing it in the track. So I might turn it up and it might be above it. You know, the frequencies might be, I might be like, oh, no, that's too high. But I think it's around 5K. So let's try and have a listen and see what happens.
The world is cracking and crumbled. The fires have started below. The volcano has erupted. The lava is starting to flow.
So it's the right area, but I don't think it's right. I think it might be 3K. Let's try 3K.
The world is cracking and crumbled. The fires have started below.
Did you hear how below? It, like that literally brought out the very thing which is just sounding so unpleasant about that word below, that upper mid-rangey kind of thing. It's not nice. It doesn't suit the vocal in the context of the track, because for some reason that frequency is poking out a little more. That can be down to anything. Microphone choice, room, singer on the day, how he was holding his throat, everything can be that. It may also just be something in that singer's voice that is just a little bit like that. Now that's just being human. You can't control that. That isn't a failing. That's just natural. Or it could be the preamp that we chose on the day just humped that a little bit in, because I always use character preamps, which means they come with a bit of EQ happening anyway. And it might have just been the preamp was pushing that area up. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that we've identified it and now we can pull it back. So the way to do this is just drop it back by a couple of decibels. Now, I love this API because it's stepped. It moves in 2, 4, 6, and then it jumps up to 3 decibel steps, 9 and 12. So let's back this off by 2 first and listen. And what we're listening for is, are we still bothered? When that word below comes in, is it still sounding like meh? Or does it just come in and feel nice and smooth? That's what EQ can help us with. And that's the way you make your vocals sound better. Let's listen and see if 2 decibels out helps.
The world is cracking and crumbled. The fires have started below. The volcano has erupted. The lava is starting to flow.
I think it's still there. I'm going to back it off to 4 and see how that sounds.
The world is cracking and crumbled. The fires have started below. The volcano has erupted. The lava is starting to flow.
It's still there a little bit, so I'm going to take it down to 6. You see, there's no amount that we do or don't take off. There's no rules. There's no take it off by 4 or don't take it off any more than 3. No, it's silly. You just take it off until the problem is solved. And remember, one thing I would say is you probably don't want to remove it. You know, sometimes people get notch filters. That's really narrow, tiny little points of EQ that they just pull out. The trouble with that is you are really getting rid of a frequency that is still part of the sound. I would say notch filters aren't irrelevant. I use notch filters sometimes, but I have to really be convinced that notch filtering is the right answer. And certainly using a broad EQ, because these EQs, these API EQs, the shape is fairly broad, so we're bringing down a fair amount of the frequencies around 3 kilohertz. If we take that all the way out, the vocal will sound really peculiar. And I'm trying to make the singer sound like the best version of himself, not some weird, unnatural version. Anyway, let's try it on 6 decibels reduction at 3K.
The world is cracking and crumbled. The fires have started below. The volcano has erupted. The lava is starting to flow. The skies are cracking with the thunder. The heavens are raining down. You keep on running through the...
I think 6 might be the one. Let's do an A-B between the two and see if what we've changed in that EQ has helped make this vocal sit better in the mix. We'll go on first and then off.
The world is cracking and crumble. The fires have started below. The volcano has erupted. The lava is starting to flow.
Yeah, that is clearly helped that vocal sit in the mix. It just simply seems to occupy the same space the band is in. Now, there's something else I'm starting to hear in this, which is there's like a bit of a low mid build up. Now that we've changed that, what I'm hearing is slightly, it's like upper chest that feels like it's sticking out a little too much. That's probably 500 or 240 hertz from experience, maybe 700 in some cases. But first of all, let me try taking back 500 by 2 decibels, and we'll see if that makes it sit better.
The world is cracking and crumble. The fires have started below.
I'm going to do the technique where I turn it up a little bit so I can hear more of that frequency to see if that is the one that's bothering me.
The world is cracking and crumble. The fires have started below. The volcano has erupted. The lava is starting to flow.
It's 500. Do you see what I mean? It's got that slightly odd... Oh, whoops. Slightly turned up the bass there. It's got that slightly odd cardboard boxy kind of thing. So I'm going to take it out by 2 decibels. I think 2 decibels is all I need.
The world is cracking and crumble. The fires have started below. The volcano has erupted. The lava is starting to flow.
I'm just going to turn the volume up very slightly because we're obviously taking away sound by EQing things out. I'm just going to turn up the volume a little bit and see how it sounds a little bit louder. Of course, this means effectively the bass and the very high-end treble come up compared to what we had before. Because they haven't changed, I'm just turning the volume up on the fader.
The world is cracking and crumble. The fires have started below. The volcano has erupted. The lava is starting to flow.
Let's do an A-B. So I'm going to set the fader at 0, where it was originally, and we'll just do a quick A-B between these two and make sure we're making an improvement. All right, here we go.
The world is cracking and crumble. The fires have started below. The volcano has erupted. The lava is starting to flow.
It's much, much smoother with the EQ. Again, we're not trying to change, this is, again, some of the limitation of EQ. We can't literally change whether the singer sounded like he did a good performance on the day. We can't reshape the vocal to, if the vocal is quite irritating from the start, you've probably got some sort of recording problem, not some sort of EQ problem. But doing this has softened up the issues in this vocal, and now it's balancing so much better. Let's listen through to the chorus and see how it seems on the chorus, because there's some, more powerful stuff on the chorus.
The world is cracking and crumble. The fires have started below. The volcano has erupted. The lava is starting to flow. The skies are cracking with the thunder. The heavens are raining down. And keep on running through the fields as the fires start all around. I set your legs on fire and watch you crawl to me.
2 more things I want to try. On the bottom end, I think I'm hearing a little bit of a lack of weight. So we've taken out some of that 500, and now I'm just going to push 2 decibels at 100 just to see if I can bring out some of that almost underneath the weight of his vocal. 100 hertz on a male singer is really getting right to the bottom of the kind of frequencies they're going to produce in their voice. But I just want to see if I can bring out some of that almost air, but on the other side. And also, I'm feeling that where we've taken out 3K, I'm feeling like almost I just want to go above 3K and just restore a little bit of air just above that 3K. So I'm going to turn it up by 7K by 2 decibels. Let's see how that works. Now, it might bring out too many T's and S's. If it does, then it might not be the right choice. But let's have a look.
The world is cracking and crumbled. The fires have started below. The volcano has erupted. The lava is starting to blow. The skies are cracking with the thunder. The heavens are raining down. You keep on running through the fields as the fires start all around. I set your legs on fire and watch you crawl to me, 'cause I can smell your desire. Why don't you just leave me?
So I wonder if you could hear that little bit of gloss that we got on that vocal. That might be something, as I move through the mix and I do more compression, that might be something where I turn it up to 4 decibels, because that was sounding quite nice. I'm not going to do that now because that would sound horrible at this point. And you know, when you're mixing and engineering, you can only do what you're actually hearing and responding to. If you get into the trick of going, I'm going to do that now because I know later on I'll do this, that tends to fall apart pretty quick. You tend to then make an over assumption about an EQ move, but then you just start to respond to that EQ move on all the other instruments, and you can totally mess up your mix so quickly. So only change it when you hear that you're at the point when it is screaming at you to change it. So let's have another A/B of this and see whether our final vocal EQ feels better than the dry one. So I'm going to let it play for a little bit with it on, and then I'm going to switch it off. Here we go.
The world is cracking and crumbled. The fires have started below. The volcano has erupted. The lava is starting to blow. The skies are cracking with the thunder. The heavens are raining down. You keep on running through the fields.
I think that speaks for itself. When we switch that EQ off, we get that, of course, it's a little bit louder because, you know, we've actually taken more volume out of the signal than we've added back in. But one seems to fit in the track and sound quite classy. Without EQ, it does have that irritating, like, oh, I don't want to listen to that. That thing of kind of, oh, what's going on with that? And we got there by making sensible decisions, listening first, asking ourselves what was wrong that EQ can help with, and then turning the controls to the relevant amount. Not some set pre-default idea, not some EQ chart out there that says, oh, in the vocals, 3K is harshness. Kind of was in this case. But you know what? They're wrong so many times, because if 3K is harshness, I'm sure you've seen those charts, right? That talk about, 250 is either body or boxiness or something like that. Again, it's broadly, very broadly helpful. But when you get into it, your piece of audio is your piece of audio specifically. So you can't rely on any chart like that to help you EQ, because you're going to look at it, you're going to read it and go, well, I don't want any brittleness in my vocals. And you'll start to always turn down 3 kilohertz. The problem might not be 3 kilohertz in your vocal. It might be 5K. It might be 8K that's causing that brittleness. That's where you have to stop, listen to the vocal in context, split it up in your mind to those 4 segments and say, is it in the low end? Is it low mid? Is it high mid? Is it up in the rafters right at that S&T, shiny cymbal territory, or air band as we call it? Is the problem there? And then once you've narrowed it down to that broad range, just take a minute to look at some frequencies around that sort of area, Again, you will get used to those frequencies over time. If you're new to this, don't worry, keep at it, you will start to hear them. And you just ask yourself, which frequency is most problematic for this? And I think that probably, hopefully, covers the question that I got on YouTube. Please do let me know if you're watching, if that did help, and if you would like me to expand on anything that I've perhaps talked about in this video. And also make sure you grab my free mixing guide from my website, because that goes through a whole bunch of this sort of thing. The workflow in that very much is talking about how to listen out for these frequencies with EQ and how to do this on a wide range of instruments as well. This is just one example, but think like this for every instrument and you'll be away with EQ in no time. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. Please do like and subscribe, and I'm going to catch up with you on another video next week.